What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Janelle, and in today's video, I am taking you back to the motherland. We're going to Nairobi, Kenya. I'm going to start out with the entry requirements to Kenya. You are going to need a passport that has at least 6 months validity. Before, you were going to need 2 passport pages to be blank. Now, Kenya is offering visa-free for U.S. citizens and other countries. When I went, I did have the East African visa, and it allowed me entry into not only Kenya, but Rwanda and Uganda. Now, Kenya is visa-free. What you are going to need is the ETA. This is the Electronic Travel Authorization. You're going to need to go to this website here, and you're going to have to pay $30 for the ETA. You want to have this completed at least 72 hours before departure. This is not offered on arrival, so you definitely want to take care of this before you are on the plane to Kenya. I do believe ETA Kenya has a mobile app. Usually for me, it's easier to complete things on the desktop, the laptop, but it is up to you. Tip number 3 is going to be about the shots and vaccinations if this is your first time traveling to East Africa. For me, I did not take any immunizations at all. I knew that I was going to be going to the major capital city of Kenya, and at that time, I was thinking about going to Uganda, so I was knowing that I needed to get the yellow fever vax. What I ended up doing was going to City Hall in central Nairobi, and I was able to get the yellow fever vaccine there. It was much more affordable than having it done in the States. And they are saying that it is lifetime. I am not sure about that. I have mislocated the yellow fever, the yellow book, actually. Y'all let me know in the comments if it's valid 10 years or it's lifetime. I can't remember. I did not take any shots, any jabs, nothing to go to Kenya. I have heard of people taking the malaria pills and whatever else that they feel that they need for going to Africa for the first time. But again, I was fine. I didn't take anything. And when I was in Kenya, I had the yellow fever jab done there. If you go to Travel State Gov, you're going to see that Kenya is at a level 2. Because of the planned protests that were meant to be peaceful, Travel State Gov did issue a demonstration alert for U.S. citizens, and this has currently been posted since last week of June, and you can go on there to see what that is about. When I went to Kenya, it was in December, and I went to the top of the Kenyatta. I was moving around the convention center, and there were no protests going on when I was there. So again, this just depends on when you are visiting. If you are there during protests, you want to make sure that you just talk to the locals. They will kind of tell you which direction you need to go if you need to avoid the protests. I'm not sure if you would want to participate being a U.S. citizen. Just take your precautions. When it comes to where to stay in Kenya, there are lots of different areas in Nairobi. I stayed in the Westlands, I stayed in the Eastlands, I was in Embakasi for a little bit, so I was doing a lot of moving around. For Embakasi, I stayed at the Baraka Estate. It was okay. I actually was able to secure a room in a house, and no one else had rented the other room, so I had the entire place to myself. What you're going to realize is once you spend your money on the flight, that is going to be the most expensive part of visiting Africa. Once you get to Kenya, you are going to see that everything is significantly cheaper. Most of the places that I stayed at were no more than $30, $50 a night. Now, in Embakasi, where I was, the roads were not maintained. It was muddy. There were a lot of potholes going on, and I was on the bodabodas, so that wasn't as comfortable. Even walking, it was just a lot of up and down. So that might not be the best neighborhood for you. You might want to go to Westlands. This is going to be in a nicer area. The roads are paved and smooth. I was at a couple of Airbnbs there that I found through booking.com. A tip is when you are going to be booking Airbnbs or booking.com, whatever it may be, you want to make sure that your communication is taking place through those designated apps. The hosts are going to want to communicate with you through WhatsApp, which is okay too, but for you to have documented communication, you want to do it through the booking app or the Airbnb app, okay? When you are booking these rooms in a home, it can be a way to save money. And it's great because the host is on site. You can go to them if you have any questions or emergencies. I wanted to wash my own clothes, and the host was telling me, no, you're not going to do that. We have a housekeeper. That's her job. You give her $4 or $5 and she will wash your clothes for you. And I was like, I kind of rather do it myself. And she was like, girl, if you don't give me those clothes and give them to the housekeeper, this is just how things roll there. You want to just make sure that you are following whatever rules that they have set for the home. Also, in the Westlands, I stayed at a very nice hotel, the Ibis Styles Westlands. I mean, it's like Fort Knox. Going through security in Kenya and all of these buildings and hotels, you're like, man, I got to put my stuff down again. It's like I'm going on a flight. But they are keeping the area secure for visitors, for the citizens. So I guess you do just have to get used to that. I did look up a couple of hostels that are going to be even cheaper than the places that I stayed at, and they even offer private rooms for affordable prices. Here we have Kweza Bed and Breakfast. You can get rooms for $27 a night, and I think that is amazing. Also, there is the Jabulani Hotel that offers privates from $33, and they also have dorm rooms for $12. You cannot beat those prices, you guys. I've always talked about how hostels are the way to go, and being able to have a private room on the hostel facility is going to be your best bet. Activities in Kenya. Nairobi has so much to do. I've talked about going to visit major capitals in the world, and Nairobi does not disappoint. There's actually so much to do. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it all in one video. Fun fact, Nairobi is the only capital in the world that has a national park. You can visit the Nairobi National Park. There are the Bomas of Kenya, as I mentioned before. I went to the top of the Kenyatta at the convention center. You go up to the 27th floor with the elevator, then you go up the stairs. Go outside and you're going to be able to see beautiful views of Kenya. I also went to the Nairobi Arboretum. That's great if you want to see the greenery, take a walk, do some exercise, and just enjoy the nature. Other popular places are the Giraffe Center. There is the Elephant Orphanage. I am telling you, there's so much to do in Kenya. I have not even mentioned the malls. Okay, I was able to go to the Yaya Mall. I also went to Sarit Shopping Center, Westgate Mall. That is going to be somewhere nice as well. When I was in Embakasi, I was at a mall there. I did go to a lot of malls. Like, I was moving around Nairobi, y'all. And of course, you want to go to shopping if you want to get souvenirs, buy some African print. If you want to have clothes made, you can do this at the Maasai Market. There's the K1 Flea Market. Check and see when these are going to be operating for which days. I do know for sure that the Maasai Market, it changes locations, and you want to make sure that you are in the right place to go there. Uhuru Park. Shout out to Tony. I met him in Nairobi at church, at one of the SDA churches there, and he gave me a really great tour of the CBD. We actually went to the conference office. I was at New Life Church there in Nairobi. When you visit Africa, Kenya, you're going to notice that there's SDA churches on all of the corners. So I think that's really cool. If you were going to have a medical emergency, you can go to the Adventist hospital there. If you are Christian, definitely check out the churches there as well. This is going to be the entry point from Nairobi if you want to go to the Masai Mara and go on safari. If you have not done safari, go ahead and click on my video here and you can get more information on that. It is a top 5 experience if you are visiting Kenya. For nightlife, I quickly visited the Alchemist Bar. It is very nice. I was able to mix and mingle with the people. I did not understand what the singers were saying. I kept asking people, who is that? What are they singing? What is this about? Y'all know this is my first time in East Africa, so I'm going to be asking lots of questions. But the people are friendly and warm. I just love seeing Black people in one space in one city. When it comes to transportation, there are a variety of ways for you to get around Nairobi. And one of them is, of course, going to be walking. This is how I was able to find a salon, and I got my hair braided randomly just by walking. That was in the Embakasi neighborhood. You also can use the taxis. They have the boda bodas and the matutus. I am not going to advise you to go on the matutus. Those are very crowded. I'm gonna keep it real here. The drivers, they just kind of do what they want, y'all. The bodas, you do want to be careful with those. The drivers are supposed to have helmets for the passengers. As you see me here, we were riding all along and I did not have a helmet on. So that was my mistake. I know in Rwanda for sure that they do a better job of this, where all of the motorcycle drivers make sure that the passengers are wearing helmets as well for their safety. I didn't have one on. I was just holding tight. Well, really, how am I holding tight if I'm filming on it? I was just doing too much, y'all. Because of the British influence, you could be a little disoriented by seeing the steering wheel on the right, and they drive on the left side. So that does take some getting used to. Tony, he drove me around a lot. He took me kind of like to a vantage point of seeing Uhuru Park, so that was nice. I had another friend, he took me around the Kibera slum. Now, this is where you're talking about poverty tourism. You don't necessarily have to just be out there in the slums taking pictures if you are not interacting with the locals, purchasing from them, and supporting their businesses that they need to, sustain themselves in their community. We want to stay away from that type of tourism, guys. We're not just taking photographs of the people there. You need to have a purpose if you're going to be visiting Kibera. Me, I was with a local, so I just drove by it. Some of these roads are not going to be maintained. If you're in the CBD, I think you are going to be fine. Sometimes you'll see goats, cows on the roads. That can be typical. I actually got hit by a matutu. In the taxi that I was in, I had gotten my hair braided a second time. I keep interchanging Kenya and Nairobi. When I say Kenya, I mean Nairobi. So I got my hair braided. I was finished. It was kind of late at night. It was before I went to the Alchemist, actually. And boom, we got hit by a matutu. The driver of my Uber got out. He started arguing with the matutu driver. You see all the people in the matutu. They're just sitting there. You see the accident. Here's my taxi. Here's the matutu. And I'm like, y'all, if y'all don't get this together, my driver's like, oh, hold on, ma'am, hold on. He starts walking off to try to find the police. I'm like, what is happening? And we are just all on the street. It's like all of this mayhem going on. People are yelling back and forth. It's dark. My hair is still throbbing because I just got it done. I called Tony. He was just like, yeah, this is normal here. It happens. Just relax. You'll be fine. Like, he was way too chill about the situation. But thankfully, nothing happened. I was strapped in my seatbelt. But it is common to have a lot of traffic accidents in Nairobi, so be mindful of that. You can use the app Bolt or Uber for you to get around. I was even able to use Uber Eats to get food delivered to my Airbnb, so that is great too. So yeah, if you're going to be on the boda, ask the driver to give you a helmet and stay away from the matutus. The food in East Africa is going to be a delight. In Nairobi, I ate very well as a vegetarian. I'm going to start out with typical foods that you are going to be able to try in Nairobi. For breakfast, they have the porridge. You can get chai tea. I ate a lot of ugali. This is the corn maize that they have there. Don't eat too much of that. It's going to keep your belly full. And you can eat it with stew. I ate it with a lot of greens, kale. You can have other vegetables with it. And of course, for non-vegetarians, they're going to have it with meat. That is going to be a popular dish there. Homemade chapati is also going to be delicious. There is rice, stewed lentils. There's a lot of starchy dishes that you can have. I enjoyed the breakfast at IB Styles Hotel. I even ended up at like some education expo, and they were like, oh yeah, sure, come in. You're a teacher, blah, 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 blah. And I was up meeting authors and in the line to eat the food. Like, I love Nairobi. Like, they are very welcoming to everyone. It really makes me want to do a deep dive DNA to see where my roots are from. I'm not saying it's from Kenya. Like the Kenyans, they were saying, oh yeah, you could be Kenyan because your head is small. I'm like, really? Okay. In Rwanda, they were like, oh yeah, you could be this. Going from Nairobi to Kigali, the people were like, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving? I thought you were here to visit your family. Like, I can't just be coming to visit. They didn't believe that I was American. So I really think that is interesting and funny. But according to them, they said I looked more East African than West. I'm like, y'all, I don't know. The next time I visit, I am going to have done more research to see what my roots are from the motherland. It is so refreshing to be able to eat unprocessed food when you are in the motherland. Like, there's nothing better than that. You're not eating no canned food or, genetically modified dishes. I had some excellent pumpkin soup at this one spot. I cannot remember the name of it, but it was right near the office from where we departed when I was about to go leave for safari. That pumpkin soup was excellent. And of course, I had the chapati with it. It was some greens on the plate. It was hidden. Even the Subway at the mall, I think I got like a sandwich and it had falafel in it. It was well seasoned. I'm like, man, y'all eating good down here. A couple of restaurants that I would recommend would be Chowpatty and Kilimanjaro. Chowpatty is going to be Indian. There's a lot of excellent Indian restaurants in Nairobi. You definitely have to check those out. Kilimanjaro was good as well. I had brunch there. Country capitals are going to be the best places for vegans and vegetarians. They're going to have the most variety, and the restaurants are going to be well known. You can always check these on Happy Cow. If you're into coffee and just great food, you can go to Java Coffee House. Is that what it's called? Java Coffee House? I ate a lot there. It was one of my favorite places. As far as currency, Kenya uses the Kenyan shilling. The language is English. They do speak Swahili. You can learn common phrases, jambo, karibu. I did not learn that many there. The people were very warm and friendly, and they spoke English to me. I like to think of slow travel as something that I would like to get into, especially now that I am on YouTube, because it allows me to see and experience more of the culture, and I'm not scrambling, rushing, and I'm not as tired because I can take my time. In East Africa, I was there for about 3 weeks. I could say slow travel, it could be maybe 1 to 2 months. To me, it's much better than just going to Kenya for 3 days. Like, what did you really see? I'm not saying that you're going to see that much more in 2 months, but slow travel, the older I get, is going to be my preferred style of travel. I was close to that with Nairobi. If you have any questions or recommendations of places that I might have missed, go ahead and comment below. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on any more travel guides from me. Thanks again for watching. I'm going to see you next time.